If you
You mentioned, this is an action that we won't tolerate.
Right.
Is Coach McKinney facing repercussions? Anything he specifically needs to go through?
In consultation with, and I will tell you, Coach McKinney has gone through a lot of repercussions. I will tell you that certainly the discussion was, does he lose his job? What discipline does he face? And those sorts of things. And that was split around the table as we talked about it. And I think David can comment on his own, but I think they were split as well. And at the end of the day, it was interesting because I think both groups at the kind of in parallel paths came to the conclusion that the best thing was to focus on going forward, dependent on Sean's reaction. And Sean's reaction has been exemplary, I think, for him. And I would let Gage and Manny speak. But I thought it was a very educational experience for him to sit and listen to their stories, to Mike Mansheim's stories, to Chris Mort's story, and I think to appreciate exactly the difficulty that a LGBT person who is in the closet and struggling with how to make that known to their friends and family and those sorts of things, and therefore how damaging those seemingly innocuous comments can be. And so I think to the extent that the concept was, if in fact Sean could come to grips with that, acknowledge that he had made a mistake, and embrace the fact that moving forward that behavior had to change, he becomes, I think, a leading advocate in that effort. And I guess Gage, Manny, David can speak to that, or Chris or Michael for that matter. But my observation is he's very much in that reign. And so then at that point, punishment to what end? I think his punishment has been the last week struggling with what he had done to a young man that he was very fond of and very close with, and had to talk to on the phone and apologize to, and reflect on what had transpired. So
I'll just add, Heidi Hess, our Grand Junction field organizer, reached out to community leaders here in Grand Junction and had the conversation, fire or not fire, what were we requesting as an organization? And by and large, the response was, we just want to see real change happen at CMU in the athletic department. Very little request or thought or discussion about termination. As an LGBT advocacy organization, it is our job to meet people where they are on their journey of acceptance and help them down that journey. And consistent with our mission of a fair and just Colorado for everyone, our recommendation to President Foster was to work with Coach McKinney to make him part of the solution, part of changing the culture in the CMU athletic department.
Who conducted the third-party investigation, and how much did it cost?
I haven't gotten a bill yet. Lawyers are usually pretty quick to bill, but John Williams, local attorney in town, did the investigation for us. And so I'll find out what that cost is when he sends us a bill. I'm sure it won't be inexpensive. He interviewed not just Sean, but also past players, current players, attempted numerous times, talked to Tyler's attorney. So he did a lot of legwork, and then also visited with HR experts around the community to get their input in terms of what the appropriate range of discipline was.
I was going to ask this to the coach, but he mentioned he spoke to Tyler on the phone. Do you at all know what Tyler said?
That was a very brief conversation, and I haven't been privy to that. Yes, I would tell you that Sean apologized to him for making the comment, apologized to him again for any hurt he had caused him, and Tyler's response was, "Thank you, I appreciate that very much," and they kind of parted with best wishes. It was one of those awkward kind of conversations. I think he caught Tyler by surprise when Tyler answered the phone. I think Sean was kind of surprised when Tyler answered the phone as well. So it was fairly brief and to the point.
After your meeting at lunch, is there any kind of plans in place for any kind of policy or training, particularly regarding staff or athletics, to kind of further LGBT issues or make people more aware of it?
I think we'll be sitting down with the athletic department and having that discussion. First and foremost, it comes with just having that direct discussion with coaches and administrators. And I think it's reflection. I think Sean McKinney is going to be a key component in that, because there's someone who, you know, as I think his players reflected, you know, open the door and there's spiders inside the clubhouse and the players are squishing the spiders. He's saying, just let them out. He's a very kind and gentle young man. And so, you know, for him to be reflective of the fact that, you know, this casual comment really was damaging to a young man at a very difficult time in his life. And so I think Sean's going to be a big part in that. And then, yes, the You Can Play effort that the NC2A is affiliated with. We also have reached out to the NC2A, and we'll have some LGBT players come to campus. We've extended that offer to Tyler if he wants to take us up on it. But there are other instances where athletes have come out while they're still engaged in their playing career, what struggles they faced, what struggles they haven't faced, and I think that will help kind of further that understanding. And then safe zone training, which we have started to do, and I think will take on a little more meaning now, and I think people will engage in that a little more intensively, we hope. And just it just builds on itself. And we met with the GSA the other day, and their suggestion was not just a helpline, but a text available helpline, because some people don't want to talk to somebody. They'd be much more comfortable just texting. So it's those sorts of productive suggestions, and I think it's the most heartening thing is the reaction amongst a lot of people saying, all right, what do we do? How do we make this go? How do we move forward and make this a positive experience for everybody and make a change? You guys are just the only two with questions.
I just want to get this confirmed because it's kind of been floating around. It's never been confirmed that it was said at CMU, and even in the release it just says the comment. Is the comment you're referring to the quote, "We kill gay people in Wyoming"? I think, you know, that's always, you know, one, Tyler doesn't want to talk about what was said. You know, we've visited with him, and he initially did not want to confirm that it even happened at Mesa, which wasn't very helpful. And so from that perspective, and you have to appreciate that a player has a lot of allegiance and loyalty to their team, and I'm sure the last thing that he would want to do is damage his team. And so at the same time, you got to kudos to Coach McKinney, who said, I said something like that. Now, it's 2 years ago. I don't think he could tell you exactly what he said, but it is of the ilk. He didn't say it wasn't this, it wasn't that, but something to the effect of, we kill gays in Wyoming. How that's humorous, I don't know, but apparently both he and Tyler agree it was said in a humorous, and I think they then both agree, and certainly I think Sean appreciates there's just really no way to find humor in that situation. And so I think that's the reflective moment for him.
What has the reception been like from other athletic organizations here at CMU towards this comment?
You know, it's been sort of inside baseball, pardon the pun, but, you know, it's really been focused on dealing with Sean, upper level administration. So we have yet to really start to sit down with the broader athletic staff and really start to push that message out. My anticipation, it will be very positive. I think we have a very tolerant staff, and I think we have a group that's going to, when confronted with the realities of life and what the composition of their teams are, I think it's going to be an aha moment for all of them to say, you know, I can tell you Chris Hanks related to me that he went out and did not a minor league, but a little league training. And he said as he stood on the field, he heard a number of, you know, sort of euphemisms that you hear amongst young kids. And he said before this, he wouldn't have noticed it, but he did then. And so all of a sudden it's like, you know, you guys can't say that. And so just, you know, I think unprompted, you see changes in behavior as people understand that that's a problem. So I think it'll be very positive. And I think that certainly the leadership down there, and I think knowing the coaches as I do, I think they're all going to be very much on board.
Has Chris Hanks said anything about this? I mean, to you in particular, and has he reached out to Tyler?
You know, it's not Chris's. It really is Sean, and so and it's not really Chris's call. And so Chris has been sort of supportive of Sean as he's gone through. But at the end of the day, I had a brief conversation with him, and because he's wondering what's happening, and explained to him this is the process we're going through. I will let you know when we reach a conclusion, and I appreciate any input you want to give me, but at the end of the day, you know, his input is going to be, as you anticipate, fairly supportive of a young man that he works closely with and has a high regard for. And so, but it's really not his call. It's a much bigger issue. It's an institutional issue, and what our standards and expectations are. And so I anticipate Chris is going to embrace it. Like I said, I think he already has, just based on his behavior even before we'd made a decision. So, all right. Thank you, guys. Nice job. Way to stand up here and do the rope with it.